Hey, what a piano at, shout it. Y'all ain't never seen a dope boy play the piano and rap at the same time. Hey, bop left and right like this, nigga. I'm 22 and I'm bet in the game. Say I'm a super cool, still a threat at the same time. Rhyme about the times I invested in cane, flesh and pain, every aspect of the game. I'm the answer to your prayers if you're praying for change. So how dare you compare us and say we're the same? When I'm climbing the ladder, they stuck in the same mind frame. Their accomplishments are nothing to gain. But visually see I'm out of your range, except this rose gold glow from my wrist and my chain. I entertain young niggas who slang like a picture, no frame. See it simple and plain. My shit bang, spit flame, put niggas to shame. Flow so insane, lyrics sick in the brain. Now you can't mention my city unless you mention my name. T-I-P-I-M-P, I'm the main. Hey, you don't want no trouble with me, just be easy. The drama ain't nothing to me. Before you're having problems, just breathe. Hey, you ain't worth dying, believe it. You don't want your mama to grieve. Well, mind your business, don't bother the G. Swear you stunt, but your friend to me. Behind the scenes or behind your breeze. You can't even kissing ass when I came to leave. Set the standard for Atlanta, rearranged to leave. Okay, so what the fuck is fame to me? I've been partners since kindergarten, you's a lame to me. I give the niggas what they came to see, a reflection of oneself where they aim to be. As you can see, it ain't no change in me, and you won't meet another nigga off the chain as me. I'm so fly, no lie, don't deny it, you feel. So inspired by my style, decide to try it yourself. But you won't meet nobody rate this high as myself. The chicks you waiting on homes like a sign of myself. Told gas, drove, smoke that, now I'm high. Seats way back in the Maybach, I ride through the streets of the west side. I slap five and throw dubs. Show love, nigga, hate me. Hey, be easy. Hey, you don't want no trouble with me, just be easy. The drama ain't nothing to me. Hey, be easy. Before you're having problems, just breathe. Hey, you ain't worth dying, believe it. You don't want your mama to grieve. Well, mind your business, don't bother the G. Swear you stunt, but your friend to me. Behind the scenes or behind your breeze. What it is, pimp? T.I.P. trap music, understand that? Grand hustle, pimp. Hey, what's happening, too? Let's ride out, homie. Hey, what it is, man? DSC, pimp, squad, click, down. Hey, be easy. Hey, stay down. Keep it pimpin', pimpin'. Hey, be easy.
Salute, and welcome. Welcome back over to the Black Ocean. You're swimming in deep end over here with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. Welcome, family. Welcome. Oh, if you saw the thumbnail, you already knew that I was going to cover this because some people just don't seem to get it when it comes to my city, my home, Atlanta, Georgia. And I told you, anytime that I see people disrespecting my home, I'm going to absolutely have something to say about it and address it as only I can. Because, see, one of the things that you might not know about this place, brothers and sisters, if you're not from here or you've never been here, or if you're a transplant and you're not into at least 10 years here, here's the thing. Our city is not perfect, like no place is. But Black people here are very proud of their accomplishments and who we are as a people. And even though we're some of the most hospitable people you'll ever meet, we're not going to put up with that disrespect. I'm one of the few people that will use this platform that is a native of the city, not a transplant, to speak up when I see my people being disrespected. Because for the most part, most people just tend to let that roll off our backs. But see, it's gotten to a point now where I'm like, okay, I'm not letting anybody get a pass with this. So if you saw the thumbnail, we got two marks to deal with. As the title said, Taming Marks going wild. Oh, we going to tame some over here tonight. Oh, yes. See, one of the things that people going to have to learn about the city of Atlanta and people here that are natives, when you cross us, it's just like that Southern hospitality we extend, we can also withdraw that too and give you the opposite of Southern hospitality, which is Southern straightening. Oh, we're going to get some of that over here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As you all know, your boy, Marc Lamont Hill, okay? Yeah, this clown here, man, I'm going to tell you, I've not had any respect for him since he disrespected our queen mother, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, okay? I lost all respect for him then. I didn't really have much fondness for him before that, but after that drew the ultimate line. And ever since then, he's shown himself to be a spineless maggot, a low-life, disgrace, despicable human being not worthy of the black skin that he's in. And we're also going to be dealing with the anti-black racist Mark Taylor. Oh, yeah, I got some information on him that I hadn't heard too many people going into, but we're going to cover all of that here tonight. So if you just joining us, now you know what the subject matter is going to be about. So with that said, let me take time to greet a few of my guests over here to the channel. All right, let me look up and see. I see two Stay Woke over here in the building. Project Leroy. I see Sister Devin Haley. Jason Ferreira. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, my brother. Okay. I see Vincent Williams Sr., GB King Harris, B-Dub, Art New Style TV. What's going on, my brother? Hey, go subscribe to this brother's channel, man. He does amazing artwork. Very brilliant brother right there. See, I told y'all, we have a lot of very talented Black people over here. So if you hadn't subscribed to Brother Art New Style TV's channel, go and check him out. I guarantee you're gonna learn something over there. I see Sister Patricia Slade, welcome. Tori Ellis. All right, I see Creative World Films in the building. I see Sonia Ferguson, Tasha Peters. What's going on, family? Salute and welcome to everybody. We already got the Acknowledge Cash up here. I see Robert Harris. Thank you very much for that, my brother. I appreciate it, brother. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and get into the comments made by old Marc Lamont Hill here, and I'm going to explain some things about what he said, and then we're going to take it from there because, see, like I said, certain things you can let go, but then when you see people taking personal shots at your people, nah, the line has to be drawn somewhere. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and analyze this, and I'm going to address Mark's comments as an Atlanta native would.
A lot of noise is being made about this Freaknik documentary. A whole bunch of people talking about whose names and faces and voices and bodies are going to show up on this video from the 90s. And most of the conversation is about whether or not women will be exposed on this documentary, whether people's mamas and girlfriends and wives and daughters are going to show up in a Freaknik documentary. And I hear you. But that's the wrong issue. Look, I was outside in the 90s. I've been to Freaknik as an aspiring young journalist covering.
Go ahead and stop him right there. I call cap on that, and I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you something about Freaknik, family. And I'm going to cover that on this channel too as in an upcoming broadcast. All you have to do is look over in the live section. I'm going to give you a history lesson on that from an Atlanta native's perspective, not a transplant, not somebody that came in and out to him. We're going to cover that from pillar to post. But briefly, I'm going to address his comments here. No, you wouldn't, Mark. No, you wouldn't. I'm going to tell you how I know you weren't there. He goofy now. He was extra goofy back then. See, if you was at a Freaknik during that time, especially the early 90s for the transplants ruined it, because yes, that's who ruined it, the transplants. We'll get into that in a future broadcast. But if you was here at Freaknik in the early 90s, you couldn't come out there being a little dork like that. No, now, for the most part, in the early days, wasn't nobody going to bother you. No. But you wouldn't have been accepted. You would have felt out of place and left. So that's how I know he lying. He probably came through and witnessed at a distance, but nah, he wasn't rocking with folks out there at that time. See, I'm gonna make this statement too about his comments and everybody's comments, not just him. Hulu is coming out with the Freaknik documentary. We're gonna wait and see how they're gonna portray this, because what he's about to say here, I kind of think if they try to go that direction, they already know people in the city that attended Freaknik are gonna push back because we know what really happened. Okay. But as far as anybody worried about being seen there, let me say this to the ladies first. We who are of Generation X, all right, because that's primarily who was out there at the time. We were children, okay? We were children. Early teens, all right, early 20s for some. Everybody got a pass. Nobody's perfect. This is why you shouldn't try to carry on as if you are holier than thou. If you were at Freaknik, or if you went to Mardi Gras, other places like that, other events, okay, there were many. Went down to spring break, okay, in Miami back in the day during the MTV days, or you went on down to Cancun. There were wild times. So I'm going to say this directly to the ladies. Hey, whatever you did then, look, that's your past. A lot of y'all that moved on. That I, for one, and most of the people here in Atlanta, we're not going to be like, oh, my God, look at her. Nah, because if we was all out there at the time, we're not going to look down on anybody, especially if nobody did anything wrong. It was a different time back then. The things that are going on here in 2023, let me tell y'all something. It was a different vibe back then, man. In the early days when things were positive, if you went to Freaknik, it was basically like, okay, it wasn't no games being played. You had people coming from out of town, especially when they first heard about it, their first one. And then they went back home and told their people they came back. Everybody had a blast. Everybody was just living life, okay? For the most part. People were protective of, especially the native Atlanta women down there. But as far as this stuff that he about to say, I'm finna break some things down about it. As far as the dudes out there, if you wasn't none of the dudes, and it was mostly the out-of-town guys, I'm going to tell the truth about that. I'm not saying all Atlanta guys were saints, but the out-of-town guys were the main ones in the later years that was doing the crazy shit, which led to us basically just leaving it by the wayside, okay, because it became a negative thing. If you weren't one of the dudes out there causing problems, you ain't got nothing to worry about either, man. It's not what y'all thinking. I'm going to show y'all that here on this channel. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people talking about it that are not from here. You're going to get the truth from somebody that's from here. I may even show y'all some old footage from like 95 and other ones like that, okay? I might. It depends on what YouTube will allow to show. You know how this platform is. But we're going to get back to his comments, and we're going to further dissect it. And you already know I'm going to give his ass hell in a minute. Let's let him continue.
The story, of course. And when I was there, I saw what was happening. It's not just about women being half naked. It's not about women's hypersexuality. No, Freaknik is about men ogling, men fondling. Freaknik had a lot to do with male hypermasculinity and sexual violence. Freaknik is a rape fest. It is a sexual assault fest. That's not the only thing going on out there. I'm not trying to demonize or pathologize black people, but
let me stop this babbling spineless buffoon right there, okay? Before I even do the broadcast, okay, this week, and show you what the truth is, and y'all gonna see the truth, you're gonna see what a lying weasel he is when he does that. But I'm finna debunk that bullshit with one thing. And salute to my good brother Torrin Rain in the building, Sister Patricia Jenkins, C. Russell, I see you, Charlie X. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Salute to everybody that will be joining us. But I'm gonna debunk his bullshit with some common sense, right? I'm going to get a little bit of chat room participation because I want you to tell me if my logic is on point or if it's very flawed and GBS, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, because I like to get my chat room's opinions on things. He said it was a rape fest. Oh, it was about hypermasculinity. Oh, it's rape culture, this, that, and the third. First of all, Mark, if you're talking about rape culture, you might be talking about your homeland over there in the Caribbean. That might be what you're talking about. We do not have a rape culture and foundational Black American culture, because if you're implying that, that means that we condone that and look the other way. Most Black men in their right frame of mind don't play that shit, okay? Especially down here in the South. See, that's how I know the boy went down here like that. Let me ask this question, and this is where I want the chat room participation on. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with the statement that I'm about to make, or a thumbs down if you disagree. If you really think that Freaknik, especially in the early days, was a rape fest, or it was just a bunch of niggas getting together and here we go, but the first women we see, we're going to charge them and take them off and drag them back somewhere and do all kinds of hideous things to them. If you really think it was that, I got one simple question for you. Year after year, if this is what that was, first question, why would the women willingly come back to a rape fest if that's what it was and it's just a pack of thirsty niggas? It's going to be the purge on women. First woman you see, you drag her off somewhere and do something to her. Why would women come back? And number two, do you really think that law enforcement would allow that to go on, a bunch of niggas just running around violating women and stuff like that? Because let's be clear, this is the part a lot of people not talking about. There were other races of women out there, Freaknik. Oh, we're going to go into detail about that later this week, though. But yeah, let me know something. Tell me this. Do you really think, and give me a thumbs up if you agree with this, I'm going to ask the question again. Do you really think that women would come out there if it was a rape fest and it was going to be over and over again? They year after year, they know what's going to happen. Bunch of Black men going to get together, or it's raping time. Give me a thumbs up if you agree that that makes no sense. Give me a thumbs down if you agree, you think it does make sense. We just got to use some common sense. We just got to use some common sense. Okay? Yeah, you see? I'm just waiting. I want to get some of the chat room feedback. Yeah. Because, see, for him to make that statement, that means that either the women didn't have good sense, or the men just didn't have no respect for the women. This is how I know the boy went down here, because, see, if you grew up down here in Georgia in the South, we respect our women for the most part. Now, am I going to tell you every brother's a saint down here? In the hell no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's frowned upon for you to put your hands on a woman for no reason, outside of something like self-defense, like she trying to kill you. Okay? It's frowned upon definitely for you to try to sexually assault a woman. We don't play that shit around here, man. You can't come around us doing that. And then here's the other thing that a lot of people not from Georgia don't understand, especially in the early 90s. Let me tell you something. I've said this before on this channel. I'm going to say it again. Besides Texas, Georgia is the place where Black people carry the most power tools. Let me explain something to you about Atlanta, Georgia women. Natives, not transplants. Let's just say a woman back then went to Freaknik, okay? Let's say she did that. And it was a rape fest that Marc Lamont Hill is telling us that it was. Do you not understand that sisters back then, and today definitely, but back then, do you not understand these sisters would shoot the shit out your ass? See, let me correct something right now about Atlanta, Georgia women. See, this is how I know this little goofy flunky went down there like that. He don't know nothing about our women. Dude, for the most part, the women was going to be protected, especially back then in the early days. But let's just say if a woman was in a situation down here and there wasn't no dudes to handle that, let me tell you something. She go in that purse, boy, you better get some yonder. I'm going to tell you right now, boy. And look, they're good shots too. Most Georgia women, not just Atlanta, but Georgia women, period, Black women, they had a father that taught them to shoot at an early age, an uncle, a grandparent. Man, look here, you running up on these women down here, boy, don't you do it. I'm telling you right now, that's a good way for your ass to get turned into a pincushion. See, that's how I know he don't know nothing. See? So I'm going to show you something else that a lot of these fools don't know about Atlanta, Georgia women. If she wasn't carrying that doggone, that burner on her, boy, you talking about somebody to slice your ass up? These chicks down here carry razors. And when I say man, boy, see, that's how I know he don't know nothing, man. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something before we get back to the debunking this jackass. I've seen people, especially transplants, come down here and think that they were gonna try women like that. I saw a dude down here, man, get stabbed so many times, man, for trying to run up on a sister like that. And then he got his ass beat because, see, let me tell you something else, especially in the early days, why you didn't try to do nothing to no women, especially if you was a native black man down here in Atlanta at that time. If you did something to the women at Freaknik, and one of them at the time, especially when the natives were there, when those of us who are not transplants were there before the late end, when all of us really stopped going and it was mostly out of town people. What happened was, if you did manage to get away and the crowd didn't whoop your ass, somebody knew where you lived, bro. You were gonna get seen about. Bro. I'm telling you. So, like, for the dudes that really like started doing stuff, they was out of town, dude. They had to deal. We were gonna tear your ass up anyway. But I mean, like, if you did something, you was stupid enough to do something, somebody was gonna find you, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, somebody, look, phone calls get made, you get found real quick. Oh yeah. And boy, I'm gonna tell you, wherever you got it was wherever you got it. I don't care if you was at church. I don't care if you was at a baby shower, on the toilet, wherever you got caught. And it's confirmed that you did something to one of these sisters down here. Cause see, for the most part, what the vibe was, down here in Georgia, especially like on the club scene or whatever, especially back then, it was frowned upon for just a dork like him coming around running the women off. Cause see, like how it worked back then, if you didn't have a certain vibe about yourself, man, that would make the women leave. They would go to the spot. So you had to be on point to hang with the crew back then, okay? Now, let alone you doing something to put your hands on to make the women feel like, hey, we ain't safe here or whatever. No, man, you would have got ran off. So that's the truth. And everybody from Georgia know I'm telling the truth about that. Y'all, especially if you are my age range and you attended a Freaknik, y'all know what it is. But I'm going to let them keep lying, and we're going to further continue to debunk this bullshit.
We're talking about the worst parts of Freaknik. It wasn't about the actions of women. It was about the disgusting actions of us men. And so when you watch Freaknik, you don't need to be worried about mama, daughter, sister, girlfriend. You need to be worried about brother, son, husband, or yourself, and whether or not you were engaged in some of the worst parts of patriarchal culture, whether you were part of the worst parts of rape culture and misogyny and sexual violence. When we talk about Freaknik, and the way we talk about Freaknik, it's a representation of all the problems we have in a society.
So now you heard that babbling buffoon, right? Oh, patriarchal culture, rape fest and all of that. No. See, everything I just told you, I'm going to prove it later on this week, y'all. I'm going to show y'all what Freaknik was really like back then. And you're not going to hear the story from folks that passed through. No disrespect to them if they came in peace, okay? You're not going to hear it from a little whining punk bitch like him. You're going to hear it from Atlanta, Georgia natives. I'm going to show you some footage of what things were like back then. And see, let me say something to the millennials, the Gen Z. I'm going to take it upon myself as a member of Generation X to tell you something, okay? And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Older people that sit here and try to point the finger at y'all about y'all behavior nowadays and the things that you do, y'all really kind of got a lot of that from us, right? From the music and everything. So any of us that are worth our salt are not going to sit up here and try to act like you saints. So if we do try to tell you about something, those of us that have some sense and speak with any type of good faith, we try to make sure that you don't make certain mistakes that we made back then. Because look, we were wild, man. Generation X, man, in our younger years, man, listen, dude, especially down here in Georgia, let me explain something to you about the racial dynamic down here, okay? You ever ask yourself, and those of you who are Gen Xers down here in Georgia know I'm speaking the truth, ask yourself why them white folks weren't really running around calling us the N-word like that. See, it's not like now with all this stuff going on where, you know, they'll get bold and try people, you know what I'm saying? Because they still don't really do it like that down here, okay? They didn't really do it because they knew that was an automatic ass whooping. Oh, yeah, I mean, you were going to get that ass whooped. I don't care who was around and what was going on at all, okay? Salute to the brother Charlie for the cash out. Thank you very much, my brother. But you were going to get your ass tore up on sight, okay? So even when, you know, rap was beginning to gain popularity and everything in the early 90s, them songs that had that N-word in them, oh, no, you knew not to sing that. You were like, okay, you skip That part. Everybody would look at you like, all right, now you don't do that. So I'm just letting you know what I'm saying, that Generation X, we were wild, all right? Freaknik was really, especially down here in Atlanta, was a place where, hey, we did some things. Like the picture that you're looking at right now. That's Kanye West. That's right. He came down here. See, what Freaknik really was, man, it started out as something just for local people. But here's the thing that's true about Atlanta in general. A lot of people, and let me tell you something, it was people from other countries coming to that. See, that's another part a lot of people don't talk about. Man, look, a lot of people, it was a rite of passage for them coming through in the early days, okay, before shit got crazy. So beyond just Freaknik, a lot of times when people just come to the city of Atlanta and just feel the vibe, people like, yo, I like this. You know what I'm saying? Black people are friendly down here for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot to do. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's pretty much welcoming as long as you come in peace and don't get disrespectful. So it's like, it became a second home to a lot of people. And a lot of people, man, let me tell you something, man. A lot of people made their mind up when they came to Freaknik back in the day. They was like, hey, look, I know I'm from XYZ place, but as soon as I get my money right, man, I'm moving down there, bro. I like this. And some people, Freaknik was the reason why some people moved down here and never left, okay? So I'm just telling you the other side of history. I'm not gonna hide the bad parts about it. That was in the later years. I'm gonna go into detail about that later on this week. But I will say this. The thing about when things went left, that's what happens when people that were outsiders came through, and then they started like bringing how they treat their women down here. See, down here before everything got crazy, the women was free to do what they wanted down here, man, because they're like, okay, I'm going to mix my brothers, and whatever we decide to do, it is what it is. We all having a good time. I mean, the vibe between men and women was totally different back then. I mean, if you were feeling somebody, you were feeling what no games being played. You know what I'm saying? It was just, man, look, let me tell y'all something, man. It was not unheard of down here if you went to Freaknik for people to even like rent some of the hotels, the major hotels, to like rent a floor or two. That happened a lot down here, okay? I'm just saying, man, like, look, back during the 90s down here, I'm not glorifying this, but that was the dope boy era, okay? That's when a lot of that was going on, was at its height. But you also had a mixture of people. I'm going to break it down for you. You had the dope boys on the scene, of course. Then you had like the college kids, which is what mainly that's how that started. All right. Then you had people that was coming in from other places that was a mixture of both. And I'm going to tell the truth. You had some little hard-headed guys that was like, hey, 17, 16, if they were there in the city, they found their way to it. Things happen, okay? Things happen, all right? So I'm just giving you a brief, overview of it. Like I said, I'm going to go further detail later on this week. But I want to show you something. I want you to watch your boy Kanye right here because, see, like, I'm going to show you something about what I'm finna play here. Look at the look on his face, right? Now, this is how you can tell that Kanye had been to a couple of them before he came down here for this one. Because, like, usually when people that are from out of town, especially back then, they came down here and they saw how women look. Look, I love all our sisters across the nation, but I got to go ahead and take the time to brag right now, man. It ain't nothing like a Georgia peach, baby. I'm going to tell you that right now. Man, we got some of the most beautiful women on the planet right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, the attitude sometimes, yeah, some of them be, some of them have a attitude for certain reasons, but for the most part, nah, that's not really the majority. You got to do something to sister down here to get on their bad side. So I'm just covering all bases with that. But as far as just how they look, let me tell you something, man. It's going to make some of y'all laugh. And ladies, bear with me. I'm not going to objectify nobody because I know y'all like, he's about to be a pig. Don't worry. I'm not gonna turn it to a pig. I'm just gonna tell some truth. Can I do that, ladies? Can I tell the truth? Salute the brother Jubel England for the cash, y'all. Thank you. Can I tell the truth without the ladies getting offended? Trust me, I'll keep it mild. Family, a lot of them dudes from out of town, the women where they from, they were somewhat thick, especially the brothers from the West Coast. That was the funniest thing. They came down here and seen them women. This was before all the BBLs and all that bullshit. They was like, oh my God. Man, look, These dark-skinned sisters down here, light-skinned sisters, whatever it was, man, we got everything down here, even to this day. Back then, bro, it was before all this fake bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you had a lot of sisters rocking their natural hair and everything. I'm talking about, man, brothers would come down here, man, and like, you know us, if you a native, you used to seeing that every day. They were like, oh my God, man, did you see her, boy? Look at that ass. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's about as far as I'm gonna go later, but I just got to tell them the truth, man, because a lot of people don't know about this. And we got to give the millennials the truth about it too, okay? The millennials, Gen Z, whatever. I mean, look, that was a hell of a time to be alive back then, man. You know what I'm saying? Before the craziness, all right? Because I am not going to condone any of the fucked up shit. I'm going to tell y'all the truth about that later on this week. I'm going to go into detail about it, okay? But like, as far as just what it was initially, it was a large number of black people getting together, nothing going on, wasn't nobody trying to hurt nobody or nothing like that. We were just enjoying each other's company. So a lot of times if you had, you know, brothers or sisters coming from places like, okay, let's just say Chicago, California, New York, Philadelphia, places where it's like a lot of violence going on, okay? Yeah, you right there, Vincent Williamson. You know, it's Southern women in general. You right. But, you know, I got to give majority sisters props because, you know, we talking about this Freaknik thing here. So, you know, if you had a lot of people coming from places where there was a lot of violence going on, they didn't really believe that many black people to get together in the hundreds, damn near thousands, and just be at peace like that, and it was just a good time. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so that really, like, it really endeared itself to a lot of people in the early days for a number of different reasons. I'll touch on this a little bit later in the week too. But another thing that a lot of people didn't understand about Freaknik, if you came down here and you was like in a hustler's mentality, you could make money down here. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's just say you was a sister and your thing was you was into like making handbags or t-shirts. Okay? Let's just say you was a brother and you just say you were trying to be an inspiring rapper or whatever. You had a couple of mixtapes, whatever you were trying to get known down here on the underground club scene. You come down here and sell this stuff, man. We'll be like, okay, let me see what you got going on, bro. Let me check you out. You know what I'm saying? So it was more than just the women. And it was more than just what people are talking about, man. People came down here and found a lot of opportunities down here. You got people that came to that have made lifelong friendships down here. So all this rape culture bullshit, if they try that, just wait till if they go that route with the documentary. Just wait till you hear the response from people that was there. We're gonna shut that shit down so fast. Because see, I'm gonna show you something, right? The whole rape fest. Oh, that's what it was all about. One, the women wouldn't have kept coming back. And number two, them women would have handled that, man. I'm telling you, dog. Y'all don't know our women like that, man. They would have been saying something about it. They weren't like afraid to speak out. Like, you got to be from here to understand our people, right? But I want y'all to look at Kanye's face down here because, like, you know, this is how I can tell he had came to a couple by this point. He was just like, okay, yeah, I'm used to it now. Check this out. See, I let that play a couple times for a reason, because you saw how unbothered Kanye was. He was like, okay, yeah, I'm used to it now. And the sister that was twerking in front of her, man, she was trying to get that money. She was like, hey, let me get this little nigga to notice me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was a vibe back then, and it was like, okay, everybody come as you are, be relaxed or what have you, and just enjoy yourself, man, and indulge in the culture. Get to see how we live, you know what I'm saying? And hey, you know, like I said, it's a lot to it that if people just try to make it about the women, they're going to miss the whole thing. See, I'm like this. Y'all know from like the way I present anything to you over here on this channel, I believe in telling the whole truth. So if I'm going to tell you what the good part is, I'm going to tell you what the bad part is. Okay, we need to do both. Don't just paint it, oh, it was just this superior rape fist. Because see, look, let me tell you something. For him to sit up there and tell that lie, one, to let me know he wasn't dying. I'm going to say it again. I don't believe you, Marc Lamont Hill. You wasn't dying like that. We don't fuck with niggas like you. We didn't fuck with you back then. We don't fuck with you now. But see, just think about it. Let's go with his lie for a minute. this really was what he said it was, do you know what kind of laws they would have came up with back then? See, let me take you back then. Bill Clinton was the president during a couple of these, okay? The 3 strikes laws and all that, man, do you know they would have started warehousing niggas down here? Now I'm going to tell you, we got some dirty people down here. The dirty South, these cops down here, boy, they were, boy. You hadn't seen dirty until you had an incident with one of these damn redneck cops down here. So now in the city of Atlanta back then, most of the cops was black. Most of them was cool for the most part. Like you know, if you did do something, right, that was against the law, all right, or they saw you was about to, brothers and sisters down here that were police officers would try to give you a warning first. They used to try to look out for our people back then. Back then now, okay, a lot has changed since then. But the point that I'm making is if we were just running around doing that, man, they would have made so much money off of locking niggas up for they would have just waited for the Freaknik, encouraging them, like, yeah, we finna get these quotas filled up now. See, so I'm trying to teach you, family, how when you hear certain things, you use common sense and say, wait a minute, that don't make no sense. Like that can't possibly have happened. You have to think about it, right? So now that we dealt with that, because I'm gonna take my time on the upcoming broadcast. What you're looking at on your screen, though, is what he don't want to talk about. See, I'm going to show you one of the things that we do over here in the new black media. When you start trying to slander and demonize our people, we're going to, one, get out in front of it. And then what you're trying to deflect away from, we're going to take it right on back. So what I'm going to do, we're finna take a look at Girls Gone Wild. Yeah. Because, see, just like Marc Hill was trying to paint black men as these super predator rapists, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he probably passed with Hillary. He trying to paint us in that light. They also want to take that time to ride down on sisters that came to Freaknik, whether they was Atlanta natives or sisters from out of town. See, look at how hypersexualized these black women would. Look at them. See, they think they slick with that. Again, I'm going to make this statement. If you didn't do nothing to violate nobody back then in no kind of way, you ain't got no reason being ashamed of something that was a part of your past life experience, okay? No, you don't. Because see, what I'm about to show you now, I guarantee you anybody that's in this chat room, and you ain't got to incriminate yourself. If you're a brother or sister that came to a Freaknik, I'm going to tell you I was at a couple of them, okay, before the shit got crazy. Yes, I was. All right, now, for clarity, I was there as an innocent observer, and most of my time spent at the Freaknik, I was walking up and down the streets with the word of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You know, see what my job was back then. I was walking up and down the streets with the word of the Lord. And if I saw anybody, you know, getting out of line, I would stop them and read them a script. Like, hey, brother, come here, man. Look at this scripture right here now. Come on now. You got to get your mind right. And I was a minister, you know. I was a traveling minister at Freaknik. You know what I'm saying? So if the ones that I went to, it was a Holy Spirit on the premises. That's all I was doing, okay? You know what I'm saying? If I laid hands on anything, I was doing the work of the Lord. That's what I was doing, okay? So I just want y'all to understand what your brothers were doing out there now. You know, I'm innocent. I just know about these things that I saw, so I'm just reporting news. That's all I'm doing. I see y'all over there laughing. Y'all don't believe I was a minister out there? Come on now. Look here, man. Look, I know that word. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to give people the word. That's all. But I digress. This ain't about me. We're going to take a look at this Girls Gone Wild thing, though, because I guarantee what you about to learn and see here, none of this shit went on at Freaknik before it got crazy in the later years, okay? And when I say later years, we talking 97, 98, stuff like that, okay? So I want y'all to take a look at this and ask yourself, why they not going to talk about this, all right? Because, see, the history of Girls Gone Wild, I guarantee you a lot of y'all probably don't know nothing about that. Well, guess what? You in luck, because you about to learn tonight. Let's let this continue here.
Given the topic and downright awfulness of Joe Francis, this episode will, unfortunately, include mentions of sexual assault, underage abuse, and domestic violence. If you're not in the headspace to hear about this one, feel free to skip it in its entirety, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, while the Girls Gone Wild franchise was running, well, wild, Joe Francis was living an insane lifestyle. He seemed to be involved in pretty much every aspect of the company, from marketing to videoing, and of course, the partying. But while he just seemed like your normal douchebag party boy on camera, he was actually far worse in the background. The first sign of his horrific behavior came in 2003, just a few years into their media takeover, when he was charged with drug trafficking and racketeering related to prostitution. Starting off with the big boy lawsuits, I see. Now, the charges stemmed from an incident back in March of that same year. Joe and his camera people came across 3 young girls while out and about in Panama City. At some point, they decided to ask the girls to come back to the motel and act out a nude scene in front of them. When 2 of them obliged, they were paid $100. That's it. The biggest issue, mixed in with the plethora of other issues relevant in the situation, was that the girls were underage. You would think surely that Joe wasn't aware of this, right? Why would a world-renowned businessman be stupid enough or horrible enough to film underage girls? But as it turns out, he actually was that horrible and he was that stupid. In fact, it gets even worse, because a video was discovered that showed Joe telling one of the girls, who was only 16 at the time, to lie to the camera and say she was 18. Eventually, almost 5 years later, after a variety of other run-ins with the law, which we'll talk about them all in a second, don't you worry, Joe finally had to return to Florida in 2008 to answer for his crimes.
Now, yeah, see, this is the guy that founded Girls Gone Wild. Now, one thing I can guarantee you at any Freaknik, you didn't have no brothers down there that knew it was underage girls and be like, yeah, let me get you on camera. Not if we knew they was underage. No, hell no. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, man, you know, you ain't really see no underage girls out there like that. You know what I'm saying? And if they did come, they were with their cousins and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't a part of like the main areas where grown folks activity was going on, okay? All right, so I guarantee you, we didn't have none of this shit. You ain't gonna see, this is the thing about it, right? And I want everybody in the chat room to remember this. It's easy to debunk a lie. It's easy to debunk a lie, especially if the people that they're talking about are still alive during like historical events like Freaknik. Because we're going to come out and be like, hey, whoa, hold on, that's bullshit. That didn't happen. So what I'm saying is I want you to compare and contrast what we're about to show you with the rest of this Girls Gone Wild story, because I'm going to tell y'all something, man. What you about to learn that this dude was responsible for, you not gonna find one black man that they gonna be able to bring up and say, yeah, you the equivalent of this white guy right here. Let's let it continue.
He pleaded no contest to a plea agreement that brought the charges down to child abuse and prostitution. Following his plea, the judge ordered him to pay $60,000 and he was banned from conducting business in 2 counties in Florida for 3 years. But did this actually slow him down? Well, no. He left the court and told reporters, I'm going back to making videos this afternoon. How charming. But there's more, and Joe just couldn't stay out of trouble. In 2006, the news came out that Joe Francis had assaulted a journalist who had written an article about him. Baby, give me a kiss. That was the opening line of a 2006 Los Angeles Times report that tried to expose him to the world. Unfortunately, this was just one of many, and it didn't seem like anyone even blinked an eye. But the story starts with the background of Joe Francis and the Girls Gone Wild empire. Somehow, they convinced girls who were usually quite drunk and sometimes underage to lift their shirts and expose themselves. All of this was for the promise of a t-shirt. But it's a party, they say. Everything is fun, happy, and just wonderful. But as the story continues, it actually takes a darker turn. The journalist, who somehow got the god-awful job of following Joe Francis around the country, was talking to him in his trailer when he suddenly decided to act out his 2003 arrest on her. And in case you're wondering, this included him ripping away her notebook, grabbing her arms and stomach, and shouting at her, "You don't care about the First Amendment. I care about the First Amendment, but you are the kind of reporter who doesn't care." Eventually, she punched him in the face to get him away from her. Probably the worst idea in the entire world to assault a journalist who is literally writing a story on just how awful you are. But clearly, despite his millionaire status, Joe is not the smartest person in the world. Now, if you fast forward just a couple years, you'd think maybe he learned. But no, because a couple years later, he was arrested for false imprisonment, otherwise known.
Now, before y'all hear about the rest of this mayonnaise madness that this bastard was partaking in, I want to take this time to point out something, right? I'm gonna give you a scenario. You heard how she was describing an incident where he got punched in the face by a chick. Now let's take it back to Freaknik in the early 90s. It's still like that down here today, and my Georgia brothers can bear me witness on this. Usually, if a chick had to take off on a dude, especially back then, oh, that was the signal to pack you out, buddy. Because we already knew you had to do something fucked up for the most part. Because, see, this is the reason why I'm saying that. Back then, now I know things have changed, and there are other factors that you have to consider in. But back then, if you was from down here, man, the chicks were so cool, man, they didn't really bother nobody. No, I mean, I got to tell the truth, bro. I'm not saying they were saints, But man, Georgia women back then at that time, it was some of the most easygoing women you could ever meet, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, let me tell you something. I got to give props to those sisters where it's due. They brought a lot of money down here because, like, just their demeanor was enough to make brothers want to come back. They're like, hey, boy, look, I already know how it is. If you're not from here and you a dude that came down to Freaknik, man, I already know when you went back home, you'll be like, hey, boy, y'all come down there and check these Georgia women out, boy. Listen. You know what I'm saying? It was a vibe. And see, here's the other thing, too. I just want to take that time to point that out, the difference back then as far as, like, a woman having to fight a dude back then. Because it's kind of still like that now, okay? But like the other reason why the sisters got a lot of a new economy coming down here, if they was kicking it with them dudes or whatever, and they was choosing on whatever, a lot of times after the Freaknik and store wore down, them sisters would cook for them brothers, man. And that was some of the best food they ever had. Like I said, man, you got to come down here and be amongst Georgia people, especially like if we get together in the spirit of like just harmony and celebrating one another to understand what I'm talking about. Any of you that have moved down here, y'all already know what I'm talking about. But I just want to take that time to point that part out. We're going to get back to this craziness, though, because, see, a lot of y'all probably going to learn about this for the first time.
Known as kidnapping. So, yeah, he is that bad. In 2011, Joe Francis was just out living his horrible person lifestyle when he decided to invite 3 women into his limo in Hollywood, California. What happened next is usually what we hear about in movies. He decided to kidnap them. When the girls agreed to get into Joe's car, the limo driver showed the woman a police badge and informed them they were unable to leave. Then, they were brought to Joe Francis's house, and when they tried to leave, and by leave I mean literally escape, he grabbed one of the women by the throat and hair and slammed her head into the tile floor 4 times. Eventually, he let them leave under one condition, that they didn't call the police. Thankfully, they did not listen, and he was arrested for false imprisonment and assault. Later, he would be convicted, and his sentence would have landed him in prison for up to 5 years. But did he sit in prison for that amount of time? No, he didn't. Because as we all know, money makes the world go round, and despite Joe's wide array of legal troubles, including a lot that involves money, he still had a lot of it. But anyway, instead of serving the 5-year maximum, he was instead ordered to serve just 270 days in jail. 270 for kidnapping. But don't worry, he also had to serve 36 months of probation and psychological counseling for a year. So clearly that would solve all the issues, right? He just wouldn't continue on being a terrible human after that, right? What makes this bizarrely short sentence even worse was the fact that it was handed down after he'd made the disgusting remarks that the jury should be euthanized because, as Darwin said, you have naturally selected yourself. Eventually, he apologized and said he would accept the jury's verdict, but this just doesn't sound like a man who's going to get rehabilitated anytime soon, and wouldn't you know it, he wasn't. As if constant accusations of sexual assault, false imprisonment, and filming underage girls weren't enough to prove that the founder of Girls Gone Wild and the company as a whole, if we're being honest, were absolute trash, there's the money stuff too. Joe found himself in hot water over money multiple times, and most of it happened during all of the other things too, which makes it even more incredible that he was permitted to just keep on running his company. Do you remember when that first lawsuit happened, the one back in 2003? Remember how I said he had other things going on? Well, those other things included him fighting with the IRS. As we all know, there is no one you want to fight with less than the IRS. In 2007, while he was awaiting his trial for the Florida case, he was accused by the IRS of the age-old mistake, tax evasion. Oh, and a little bit of embezzlement sprinkled on top. That's right, they accused him of deducting $20 million in fraudulent expenses from the corporate tax returns. But Joe Francis had an explanation. Clearly, this just wasn't him. It was his accountant. He would never do something like that. He was obviously the pinnacle of a law-abiding citizen. Ignore the filming of underage girls, assault charges, false imprisonment, false accusations, etc., etc. This time, it was all the accountant's fault. According to him, Michael Barrett had filed the tax returns and then blew the whistle to the IRS with the goal of reaping a bounty for turning in a tax cheat. Clearly, he pleaded not guilty and went on to blame his business empire for the never-ending stream of lawsuits against him. I've been called everything from a rapist to a drug trafficker to a racketeer to an obscenity pornographer. I'm not selling Bibles, you know. At the end of the day, I'm selling naked girls. People want to buy naked girls.
Now, let's just stop and ask this question. Why isn't Marc Lamont Hill and the rest of his little spineless crew going back and talking about this guy and their rape culture? Because they do. The dominant society definitely has a rape culture. Oh yeah, don't get me started. Brock Turner, we could go on and on. Okay, we could go on and on. On and on. Why isn't he talking about that? See, them girls going wild little situations wherever they went. It was a lot going on behind that. But you know what? Hey, you know, I'm talking too much. I'm gonna let one of their people tell you, because you know when black folks say something, you know, people don't tend to believe us. So I'm gonna let them talk.
And listen here, Joey. If you were simply the head of a soft porn empire, that would be all well and good. After all, sex work is real work. The problem, and why you've gotten arrested so many times, is that it's literally impossible for me to fit everything you've done into a 30-minute episode because you're an asshole and you have no regard for the laws or anybody around you. You take advantage of drunk underage girls, abuse women, and also apparently lie on your taxes. That's all you, buddy. No one's coming after you, you narcissistic human being. You did that all on your own. But somehow, and by some miraculous circumstances, he even seemed to get out of this whole IRS debacle without any real impact on himself or his business. He eventually pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanors of filing false tax returns and 1 count of bribery. So what was the result? Well, he had to pay $250,000 and got credit for the 301 days that he had been in jail. It seems like no matter what this man did, he just got credit for his time served and a fine that barely put a dent in his wallet. As it turns out, though, Joe Francis loved some things more than videoing girls without their permission or, you know, just being a general scumbag. He also apparently loved to gamble. How much, you might ask? Well, he loved gambling so much that he apparently owed $2 million to Stephen Wynn, who owns the Wynn in Las Vegas. So not only did he love gambling, but evidently he was also really bad at it too. And like anyone who's owed $2 million, naturally, Stephen Wynn decided to sue Joe for his money. And what did Joe do? Well, he told people that Stephen had threatened to kill him. According to Joe, a neighbor, otherwise known as the massively successful record producer Quincy Jones, told him that Wynn threatened to hit him in the back of the head with a shovel and bury him in the desert over a gambling debt. I feel like someone has been watching a little too much Casino because it's hard to believe that that actually happened, and I'm not the only one who thought so. Eventually, Stephen sued Joe Francis again for defamation. During the trial, Quincy Jones testified that he'd never said anything about Wynn threatening to kill Joe, and Wynn's lawsuit stated, "In truth and in fact, Wynn never threatened to kill Francis, nor physically threatened him in any manner, and never said he would hit Francis with a shovel and bury him in the desert." In the end, the jury sided with Stephen, which is not shocking in the slightest. They instructed Joe to pay Stephen $20 million after he slandered him. But of course, this is Joe Francis. He doesn't pay his debts and thinks he can do whatever he wants at any given time. So years after the first lawsuit was decided, a jury doubled the amount of money he owed Stephen to an astonishing $40 million. And all of this, as a reminder, was just for a $2 million debt. Could have just fucking paid it. Could have not accused a super wealthy casino owner of trying to kill you. Lesson learned. Or, you know, maybe not. Eventually, after years of abuse, tax evasion, and literal kidnapping, his company finally started to feel the pressure of his poor decisions. In 2013, Girls Gone Wild filed for bankruptcy to try and protect themselves from the millions of dollars of debt that Joe Francis had placed on it throughout his near-constant stream of lawsuits. This was done shortly after a woman won $5.8 million. Not so shockingly, this was awarded to her after she announced that they had used naked images of her without her express permission. You know, the same thing they'd done over and over again.
Now, I want to take this time to pause it and show you another contrast between what this bastard was doing, okay, and what went on at Freaknik. Y'all might not believe this, but the brothers that were back there at the time can back me up on this. Back then, you know, this was the era before the smartphones and all of this stuff that we have now to record things and images. You had to have like the old school camcorders. Man, it would be funny to see like a lot of Gen Z, like they would look at that and be like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? But like, that's what you had to use to record any type of video back then. If the sisters like say, hey man, I don't want to be on camera, man. You know what brothers would do? It wasn't no issues. We'd be like, okay, no problem, baby girl. We ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? We would just go film somewhere else. Real talk. See, primarily the natives down here. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. Now, if it was people from out of town, can't say what they would do, but I know if we, because we knew, look, here's the thing. It was a different vibe because we knew most of the chicks, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't really have no reason to disrespect one another like that. We saw each other as family for the most part, the natives. You see what I'm saying? See, this is the part that a lot of people not going to tell you about, right? So I'm just giving you a little bit of contrast because, see, you seen what she was just saying about him, you know, having people on image without their consent and all of that. And see, one thing that I guarantee you, and again, mark my words, if they take that documentary about Freaknik in the direction where it's a bunch of lies, if the women have to come out and speak, they're going to be like, hey, nah, it wasn't no issues. It is what it is. Because see, this is what's going to be funny about it. If they're thinking that they're going to shame black women for their behavior back then, most of these sisters going to be like, hey, look, that's what I did. It is what it is. Now what? Moving right along. And most of the brothers, like I said, if you weren't out there trying to do nothing untoward, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? We were just enjoying ourselves. So there's a bit of contrast on that. But we're going to get back to this marinated madness here because, see, again, Marc Lamont Hill, why don't you go dig this up and talk about this history? Because, see, that rape culture continues to this day. Yeah, let's let it continue.
But again, Joe Francis being Joe Francis couldn't even adhere to the conditions of his company filing for bankruptcy because when the company filed, he decided to go virtually MIA. He refused to pay court sanctions, he never returned a car he was ordered to return to the bankruptcy trustee, and in true him fashion, he made violent threats against the employees of the bankruptcy trustee even though he had been barred from interacting with them and was under a restraining order too. Just quite a charming fellow. So charming, in fact, that eventually his behavior escalated to a point that he was officially barred from his own company's offices during the bankruptcy proceedings. After all of his terrible behavior and refusal to comply with multiple orders, the judge finally issued an arrest warrant for him. So, what did he do then? Well, he ran away like the scared little man he is to his multi-million-dollar estate in Mexico. No extradition there. So, Joe is free to stay in his luxurious mansion with no fear of the American authorities coming to get him. But does that mean he's just there living a quiet, peaceful, normal life? Maybe staying out of the spotlight? Maybe just shutting the fuck up for a few moments? No, it doesn't. As it turns out, Joe's time in Mexico has been just as controversial as his time in the United States, and his company, Girls Gone Wild, has been brought down in the meantime, all thanks to him. While Joe was living his best life, free of any concerns that he would be arrested by authorities from the United States, his company was sold to investors. But given the now bad name associated with them, including the multiple accusations that they filmed girls who were underage, it couldn't find a way to bounce back. Meanwhile, TNT was off in the background gearing up to drop a groundbreaking documentary that not only let everyone know just how awful Joe and the Girls Gone Wild franchise was, but also give us a little update on his life in Mexico. Unfortunately, as the documentary was released, people came to the realization that the company and Joe were even worse than we had even thought they were. Behind all those lawsuits and arrests, there was so much more going on, more that had never been reported. Using first-hand accounts from women who had absolutely horrific experiences with the company, TNT opened the eyes of people to the inner workings of the massive company earlier that summer. One woman, Tabitha, was only 17 years old when she appeared on the massively successful VHS tapes. She had gone to spring break and did what a lot of girls do, apparently. I'm not one of them, but apparently wet t-shirt contests are a big thing. So she had no idea that people were filming or what Girls Gone Wild even was. But after 5 years had passed, she found out that she had somehow become the poster girl of the company. She had never signed a release, had never been there, or was even told there were cameras. But
now, watch this. I'm going to point something else out and show you the difference between how when black folks get together and it's a festival and there's women there or whatever. Again, the brothers that were there back in the early 90s can bear me witness on this. If any of us knew that it was some underage girls out there, we wasn't putting that kind of shit on film. We damn sure wouldn't ask them to do nothing. Hell no. No. I guarantee, look, when I show y'all a lot of this footage, and if you go back and look at old footage, if you can find it, because I'm going to show you some here on this channel, you notice you ain't going to really see no people with no underage girls and no footage like that. And you damn sure not. Because see, we believe it or not, we knew just how far to go with things like that. We had a sense of morality about us, okay? Now, again, like I said, I was roaming up and down the streets with my Bible, you know what I'm saying, just observing. So that's how I know these things. But I have to speak up for the rest of my brothers because, you know, hey, you know, they're trying to accuse us of just being the worst heathens that it is, you know, okay? So, yeah, I just want y'all to know that. But see, these white folks, and again, it's not just my opinion. Go look on the FBI crime statistics and see who has the highest rape crimes, okay, who has the highest sexual assault towards kids or whatever. It's the marinated folks. And then, like you see with this, the system just protect them and let them do these things over and over and over again to the point where they be like, damn, we finally got to lock your ass up. We hate to do it, but we finally got to lock you up. So see, this is how they predators just stay loose in their community and harm them for the most part. But I just wanted to point that part out. Let's let it continue.
Despite all of that, videos of her as a minor were being sold everywhere. She tried to get them taken down, but unfortunately, they're actually still being sold to this day. Then, as the documentary goes on, it comes to a horrifying story, the story of a woman named Janelle. Janelle had known of Francis for years. He was a huge figure, one that was famous for hanging out with massive celebrities at the time like Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton. Janelle was only 18 years old, dancing at a strip club. She was used to men yelling at her or saying inappropriate things. Unfortunately, it just came with the territory. But one night, Joe Francis came into the club, grabbed her arm and told her, "You are so going on the bus later." At first, she was kind of honored. Here's this massive celebrity who was famous for picking out the most gorgeous girls, asking her to hang out with him. So she hung out with him in the club for a while, and Joe fed her shot after shot. Soon she agreed to go to the bus with him and the crew. I thought Girls Gone Wild was like flashing, and I thought I would flash them and be done. And so when I'm walking to the bus, that's all I'm thinking is going to happen. Unfortunately, what happened next is so much worse. When she walked into the bus, she saw a double bed, condoms, sex toys, a DVD that read How to Be a Player, and a stack of waivers that were given to girls to sign. At some point, Janelle did flash the cameraman, but it didn't stop there. As time goes on, she is instructed to masturbate on camera. Then Joe Francis walks in. He looks at her and says, "You're so adorable." She responds by telling him that she's a virgin, to which he replied by saying, "Great, you won't be after my cameraman gets done with you." And just as a reminder at this point,
Now I got to chime back in here, family, because see, now, and I know most of us over here who are brothers, we already know this, but I got to put this out here for anybody that finds this, on the playback. You see the difference between how lame these damn white perverted predator males are versus brothers. See, again, I'm going to make the contrast between Freaknik. Back then, we didn't have to do no lame ass shit like that trying to prey on women by getting them drunk and whatever. No, they were naturally attracted to us, okay? We didn't have to do that. We could, and then if we really wanted to get at something, we had a mouthpiece we could use, okay? All this old lame predator shit, nah, that didn't mix. And see, I'm gonna go ahead and tell it like it is. Like I said, there were more than just black people out there, Freaknik. You had white folks out there. You had, some Asian people or whatever. The reason why a lot of them, and if they tell the truth about it, the reason why a lot of them came there, they came there because they could have a good time and feel safe. No matter what they chose to do with anybody, okay? They know when nobody gonna be attacking them like that. And I'm speaking of the early days now. I'm not trying to talk about the later years as if that stuff didn't happen, because it did. So I want to make that clear. I'm talking about the early days, the early 90s, all right? A lot of the people from different races would come and blend in with black folks, man, and it wasn't no problems, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, be honest with you, this part they would probably hate. The white chicks and other race chicks that came out there, they feel safer being amongst black folks, man. Now, was it a whole lot of them? No, but there was some there. Primarily, like if they were in college, all right? So that's just the truth about that. Because see, for the most part, man, it's still like that today. If you come amongst the gathering of black folks, man, people not really trying to do nothing to you unless you do something to us, and we have to defend ourselves. So yeah, so since Marc Lamont Hill ain't gonna talk about the contrast between these types of things, I will, and I guarantee you, this is how you know that his little puppet masters put the battery in his back and wait till this come out. Because see, if he really cared so much about this, let's just say that he was on the up and up, he was in good faith. Why you don't see Marc Lamont Hill advocating for the victims of people like Daniel Holtzclaw, Brock Turner? Okay, it's plenty of situations where he should have been speaking up about. All right, I never seen him. See, this is how you can tell when them puppets are sent. They wait until something comes out and they're handed their marching orders from their little paymasters or whatever. Completely phony, bogus, no credibility, spineless, not respectable in any form, shape, or fashion. And then the further hit to your credibility, if you're going to be a journalist, you need to report the truth. When you have to start lying, now I can't believe nothing else you say. Because I already just debunked Marc Lamont Hill earlier in this broadcast, okay? But I just want to point that part out. Let me get back to it.
She is drunk. She's been fed alcohol all night. Screw the waiver forms or a video of her ID saying that she's 18. She couldn't consent to a damn thing. According to Janelle, he sexually assaulted her that night, and after he walked out to the cameraman and told him she's not a virgin anymore. Despite going to the police and her story being told in the Los Angeles Times in 2006 by the same reporter that Joe physically assaulted, by the way, her experience has gone virtually unnoticed for decades. According to her, nothing to this day has ever been done about it. I would hope that since her story has been told again to a widespread audience, something would be done about it by now. But as the documentary points out, that remains unlikely. Why? Well, because Joe is in Mexico. As the documentary goes on, they finally get to what Joe Francis has been up to the last few years, and shocker, it's nothing good. The founder of Girls Gone Wild has never missed a beat at being a terrible person, and his time in Mexico has been no different. When he ran, he took his girlfriend at the time, now ex-wife Abby Wilson, and their 2 daughters. At first, their life in Mexico seemed pretty perfect. Celebrities would come visit their luxurious house, Casa Amara, and the pictures shown on Instagram seemed like they were living picture-perfect lives. But as it turns out, their relationship was anything but perfect. It was actually closer to a nightmare. The TNT documentary opens with a glimpse of this. As beautiful videos of gorgeous beaches and the opulent mansion were shown on the screen, you hear a woman screaming in the background, "You're killing me!" Soon you hear Joe Francis scream back, "Good, I hope you fucking die." On this night in August 2020, Joe Francis was arrested for domestic violence after he attacked and choked his then wife. But in true him fashion, he got off with a slap on the wrist. He spent a
And there it is yet again. You heard that. He got off with a slap on the wrist. And see, for you tether winches in that tether class that's always so crazy about Zaddy, you better understand that Joe Francis' behavior, there's a bunch of Joe Francis out there. And see, Joe Francis, he can do whatever he want to any black person and get away with it because the system hates to lock them up. You better bear that in mind while you're watching this if you happen to find this. Let's let it continue.
few weeks in jail, went through another round of court-ordered therapy, and had all of his charges dropped. Of course, he claims that she falsified the whole thing, despite there being a horrifying voice recording of the entire event. According to him, she had bribed the authorities to charge him, and he said, all of a sudden, she made up some fake domestic violence thing. Then she paid a prosecutor named Karen 100,000 pesos. You can talk to my staff. I'll pay you $1 million if you can get one of them to say I've ever yelled at her. I just don't do that. And listen, I wasn't there. I can't tell you exactly what happened. But if we look through Joe's track record, I find it very hard to believe that she just made it all up. I mean, his list of arrests is longer than a CVS receipt. He's kidnapped people, assaulted people, and much, much more. Now, since that time, Abby has gotten custody of their 2 children, but Joe continues to make claims that she kidnapped them and that her narco boyfriend had basically kidnapped and assaulted him, and that she had stolen $350,000 from his new company in Mexico. A new company which, by the way, no one actually knows what it does. Now, despite all of this, celebrities like the Kardashians continue to spend time with him at his Mexican villa. As he continues on his never-ending journey of seeing just how bad of a person he can be, or how many companies he can run into the ground with his poor behavior, his friends seem to stick by. Girls Gone Wild would have been a fine, albeit slightly skeevy, moment in pop culture history. I have no problem with women who want to flash consensually or show up on videos consensually. There's no problem with that whatsoever. Where the problems arose is when Joe, in particular, continuously took advantage of drunk and/or underage girls, videoed people without permission, and assaulted multiple women. He was ultimately the downfall of the Girls Gone Wild franchise. He is the reason the multiple lives were changed forever, and he was truly the devil behind the camera.
So now, yeah, see, since nobody wants to talk about the other half of this, where the real rape culture was, I had to take it upon myself to do that here tonight because, see, I'm going to tell y'all something right now. As a collective, when they start trying to sweep their past history on the rug and then dump everything on black people, we got to be out in front of that, especially if we have platforms, right? Okay, so I just wanted to take that time to show y'all this, right? So now that we got that out the way, we got to deal with our other issue here tonight. Oh, yeah. We got to deal with this Mark Taylor bastard. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm finna show y'all some things about this because a lot of you may not have heard of this story. But I'm gonna let our brother Philip Scott bring you up to speed, and then I'm gonna chime in on a couple of different things that y'all probably hadn't heard about Mr. Mark Taylor.
So there's a Mark Taylor. He has a business called Speed Edge Sports that train a lot of athletes. Well, he recently went to Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to the people in Atlanta. And I want you to hear a series of videos that this man is making. Now, remember, he trains a lot of black athletes. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Downtown Atlanta, Row. Coming up here, Andrew's got a conference with the legislature. Real estate thing and all, and downtown Atlanta, staying here at the Omni Hotel over by the CNN. Ain't seen a white person in sight. Homeless ones on the street. Every restaurant looking in here is black. Every car beside them is black. They can have Atlanta.
You're damn right we can have Atlanta, Mr. Mark Taylor. And ladies and gentlemen, since Mr. Mark Taylor has such descriptive terms to describe the beautiful black people of my city, I thought it wise to put his business in the chat room here. I'm going to do it one more time. This is where you can find his business, Speed Edge Sports, because see, he's in Warner Robins, Georgia, and he brought his degenerate ass up to my city. He's not welcome here, okay? But if you're in Warner Robins, Georgia, and you have a black child that's an athlete, you don't need to send them nowhere near him, okay? I'll put that link in the chat room to his business. Ladies and gentlemen over here, you know what to do. Spread the word on that and make sure every black person knows, whether you're here in Georgia or not, that this is an anti-black racist with a business. Let's let it continue.
It used to be a fun place to come to up here. They can have this place right here and stuff. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Just need to, there's your, yeah, well, it was just a sign up there, had Obama and all them on there and stuff, man. So, yeah, that's all that's up here. That's all that's up here, man. And stuff is just crap. Yeah. Yeah, you and boys need to come up here and go hunting. Yeah. And stuff, man.
Yeah, Mr. Mark, I tell you what, you can try to come up here and go hunting thing if you want to. Yeah, I'm going to take this moment right here to show y'all something about the city of Atlanta. See, there's a reason why black folks are built different down here. Let me show you something. We're going to take a break from that report, and we're going to give you a bit of a thorough history lesson. Direct your attention to the screen right quick, ladies and gentlemen. The 1906 Atlanta Race Massacre, how fear-mongering led to violence. And you see that. It says as African Americans, even though we don't use that term today, achieved economic success in Atlanta in the early 1900s, the city simmered with racial strife and was further inflamed by yellow journalism. See, during that time, they tried to run black people out of Atlanta because, you know, after Reconstruction and everything, hey, they told us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and that's exactly what the fuck we did. We did it with excellence, the way our people have done it across this nation. But primarily here in Atlanta, let me tell you something, man. Everybody's black ancestors and elders back then wasn't just fucking around. These brothers and sisters down here was getting to the bag, okay? You got more black people down here today that still own land in most places in the country because they didn't sell it, all right? And even though we're facing gentrification here in Atlanta, we're in a better position to push back because, see, down here, if you came from a family that left you something, like I did, you take pride in that and you hold on to it. And one of the things that I'm pretty sure most of you in here, if you can relate to this, the elders say, hey, don't you sell this, boy. Or daughter, or whatever the case may be, they're like, don't you sell this. I work hard to get this. You hold on to this. Because, see, they remember what they had to go through to get something and hold on to it back down in Atlanta. In fact, the business, I want to drop this article in the chat for you all so you can read up on the history of what happened back then. Because, see, let me tell you what happened. Basically, the white folks tried to run us up out of here and they got their ass stomped. That's exactly what happened. That article that I'm dropping in the chat, I'm going to drop it in there one more time for you so you can read up on that history. I need to break that down one day. But see, what ended up happening was they started seeing how black folks pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps. That's what they told us, right? Started getting our businesses popping, started getting owning land. I mean, we was doing it back then. So they were like, oh, you niggers, hell to the no. So they got together, you know, probably got drunk or what have you, and called themselves trying to run us up out of here. Now, they killed some black people, and they always try to downplay the numbers of the white folks that got their shit stomped in for that. Oh, trust me. See, they don't like to take a L. They like to try to underreport certain things. But I put that article in the chat so you can get a better sense of what happened. Basically, they tried it, failed, and they haven't been able to take it from us ever since. Now, they're trying today. They're using, you know, paperwork and gentrification. But for the most part, those of us who are proud of our legacies down here, proud of our families, what they built, we holding on to what we have down here. And then on top of that, we share with other black people that come down here. Like I've told you on many broadcasts, this is one place where if you're about trying to get your paper right, get your business set up, okay, if you're trying to make something happen as a black person, you can come down here and get that done, okay? You got a number of brothers and sisters that's willing to help you as long as you come in respect, and you can pretty much make something of yourself, all right? So this is why we don't take kindly to anybody disrespecting our city. Like I said, it's not perfect, but a lot of people have gotten their weight up down here when they were starving back where they was from. So now, I just wanted to give you that brief bit of history lesson while he's sitting up there talking about y'all need to come up here and go hunting. I tell you what, Mark, you can try that, but you gonna learn that a lot of us hunt too. Yeah, like he gonna learn that the hard way if anyone was to try it. But hey, let's let him continue.
Ain't none here, dog. Ain't nothing but blacks up here. That's all it is. Atlanta's done gone down, man. Just gone. Bro, look at this trying to pull out in front of me right here. Look at this trying to pull out in front of me right here. Hey, did you see that tree right there? Yeah. Did you see that tree right there? Roe will hang you from that tree. Yeah. Room service. I need y'all to give me some chicken wings, 2 hoes, a red bone and a white girl. Yeah, I want the white girl, Roe gonna try the red bone. No, Borf ain't coming. Yeah, he was here and everything. He make them leave. He make the red bone leave. Yeah, he don't do that and everything. So I tried that one time at the house. Yeah, just Roe. Yeah.
And for the record, he's not talking to anybody in room service. He's doing a little mock call because he know his place down here. And I'm gonna make this clear. In most places in Georgia, these white folks know what it is down here. They're not stupid. They're not dumb. They already know. You play with us like that if you want to and watch what happens. It can go from 0 to 60 real fucking quick. And see, they don't have the courage to do that because, see, just like I tell the people that come down here, like when we did that breakdown of Donna Sharp talking about how much he can't stand Atlanta, nobody has the balls to just walk out in the street and get disrespectful with us like that. I promise you they don't do it. They do shit like this. They go and do it where they hide and then put it up later because, see, I'm going to tell you something else, too. A lot of my fellow ATLers ain't gonna like me saying this, but it's getting to the point where if we recognize you, somebody just may pull up on you about that. You're not gonna come down here and enjoy the benefits and the fruits of our labor down here and disrespect us. Hell, if you don't like it, don't come back down here. We don't really want you down here like that if you're disrespectful. If you're a little anti-black racist or white supremacist, hey, it's plenty of places you can go. Maine, North Dakota, go on up to these white parts, Montana, go on where it's just nothing but white people. Why the fuck are you coming around us if you don't like black folks? You Mark Taylor, you better study up on your history. And I'm gonna put this little business in here again because, see, I want to make sure that y'all, understand who he is there. Hey, he's got a business. We all about business over here. If you're in Warner Robins, Georgia, you need to know about it. It's called Speed Edge. Yeah, check that link out in the chat room. But I'm going to let him finish espousing his hatred for black folks here in a minute, and we're going to come back and break some things down.
He probably do it, and he probably going to throw out, we on the 14th floor, he probably throw out the window when he's done with her. Yeah. Cheap rate. Atlanta. Your town.
Now, this video itself was very interesting to say. Now, so you're around all these black athletes, and I hear you using words that come from black people in your vernacular here. But he was saying about Atlanta, don't hardly have no white people, just black people. And he said the town have went down, not because it actually went down. The last time I went to Atlanta, there was nothing wrong with Atlanta whatsoever, but just because it has black people in it, it went down.
Town of Atlanta, staying here at the Omni Hotel, everybody CNN. Ain't seen a white person in sight. Homeless ones on the street. Every restaurant looking in here is black. Every car beside them is black. They can have Atlanta. It used to be a fun place to come to up here. They can have this place right here. Ain't none here, dog. Ain't nothing but blacks up here. That's all it is. Atlanta's done gone down, man. Just gone.
Well, you know, there are cities that you can go to that's almost 100% white in America. Just go to those towns and you won't have that issue or problem. I don't really understand what's the issue. Then the next video, you got a young sister that's, you know, minding her own business, and he's making threats to her. We had to bleep out the, you know, slurs that he was using to this, you know, young sister in Atlanta and making a terroristic threat to her.
And salute to our good brother Philip Scott for reporting on this too. Because see, when I found out about this, I was like, okay, let me do a little digging and see what I can find. I'm gonna show y'all something here in a little bit, but let me point something out to you. Remember what I told you earlier in the broadcast about most of these sisters down here in Atlanta? If he would have started threatening her, it would have went one of two ways. It would have went one of two ways. Either it would have been, she would have said, oh, what it is. She would have pulled that thing out real quick and be like, do we have any problems? Because see, the women down here in Georgia that keep that power too long, let me tell you something. They're not finna have no long drawn out conversation with no man, especially no white man that's threatening them. Oh, he would find out real quick that you better pick another one and say that for when you go back to where you're from. Okay. And then let's just say she didn't do that. She had that phone in her hand. Let me tell you something. I guarantee you, she'd have made a couple of calls. It would have been some cars coming up there to change his mind real quick about some of these behaviors and descriptions that he had for black folks. So white supremacists, you better talk to the other white people that are here about fucking with black folks down here like that. See, he lucky that he did that where she couldn't hear him and all this other stuff. You better have a conversation with them down here. They know what time it is down here. Like I said, my city's not perfect, but we don't play that disrespect down here. This is one of the few places in the country where the rules are clear. You know what not to do if you're a white person. You know what not to do if you're a black person. Now, when either side crosses that line, it's going to go up, okay? That's the part that a lot of folks were missing with that. And salute to my good brother Philip Scott here, because like I said, he was the first person that I saw reporting on this. I went and did a little digging, but I'm going to show y'all that a little bit. Let's let him get back to it.
Then at the end, you know, we had to bleep that out, but he used the N-word several times when he talked about the things that he was saying in this video, right? Now, how the videos got out was very funny. His wife put the videos out, actually, because they say she had access to his iCloud account, and she put them out on Front Street. Now, I'm not saying she's any kind of hero. I'm not saying I'm excited that she did that or happy she did that, because she was with this man for years, and she knew this man felt this way about black people, and she never said nothing before. So just because you upset or scorn or whatever the case may be, and now you want to try to embarrass him and ruin him, which it will embarrass him and ruin him, and he don't need a business anymore. Especially, listen, black athletes don't need to go nowhere near him whatsoever.
Phil is absolutely right about what he said too, because see, I've noticed a trend of that here lately with these white women. When they're dealing with their little white supremacist husbands or whatever, you got to understand that historically they have always brutalized and mistreated their white women. So since the white woman knows she don't have as much power as the white man, the male white supremacist, they'll undermine him by doing stuff like that. So I agree with Phil. That doesn't make her a hero, because she was right there laying up with him all this time and she just not put that out. I'm like, yeah, you should have been exposed him. So you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm glad we got the information, because one more time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put his business in this chat room. Oh, yeah, I see, we need to know where these white supremacists with these businesses are, so we can make sure that we don't patronize their establishments. Okay? Yeah, so I put that link to Speed Edge back in there so you all can spread the word about that. He probably going to deactivate that or whatever, but hey, y'all, that's what screenshots are for. Yeah, but like I said, I'm going to let Brother Phil get back to finish up this report, and then I'm going to show you something that I found about Mr. Mark Taylor.
He has been outed as a white supremacist, and which is good that he's been outed. I hope more of their wives out him. For whatever reason how they out him, they need to do that, because when we're not around, this is what they do. I told you that we live rent-free in the mind of the white supremacists. They can't stand us. They hate our guts. There was no black people bothering him. These black people was in a restaurant, minding their own business. Black people living our lives. And he's riding around Atlanta just upset and angry at black people just existing. And this is why we continue to do what we do. And I want people throughout the world to pay attention. Like, this is America, folks. So before you decide to immigrate here and come into this is what you want to really come into. Trust me, you may have a problem in your country, but at least it's not this problem. Because every day you or your particular skin color is weaponized against you in every way, shape, form, or fashion. It's better stay in your homeland where you are at and fight for your issues and fight for whatever it is over there. Because coming here, these people have a system here that is just not good. It's not good at all. And it's going to bring a lot of stress on you. But let me know what y'all think about, this guy here. Like I said, he's just being outed as a white supremacist. And we here for it. We definitely here for it. And no black athlete need to train with him whatsoever.
All right. So now you heard our good brother Phil give us the rundown on that. So now I'm going to show y'all something here, right? Let me take this banner down for a second. This is what I end up finding. I'm going to put this in the chat room because I would like my intelligent, beautiful black audience over here to have the same information that I have. I'm going to put this article in the chat room at least 2 times so that you all will have the information for yourselves. And as you see, it's talking about the Georgia sports trainer, Marc Taylor. And see, let me point something out too, because I know those of you who are older already know this. I want my young black people to pay attention to this. Notice how during any time in the media, when they have to report on something about their people, they don't have the name of the person right up there in the headlines. You got it's either in the small print or they try to have it way down there if they use the name at all. See, if that was a black person, name would have been up there in the top part in bold. This Georgia sports trainer has been out. I know his name is Marc Taylor. And now that we know who you are, Mr. Marc Taylor, let me tell you something, boy. You better not come back up to my city, boy. You better stay where you at. I'm telling you right now, we're not playing no games with no white supremacists these days. All right? It would be in your best interest, in your good health, Mr. Marc Taylor, for you to stay around people that have your mindset. I'm just telling you now. Now, you can do what you want. It's a free country. But I will tell you something that I like to apply to everybody. It's a scientific law, Newton's third law of gravity. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Take that how you want to take it. It is what it is. So as you see, it's saying that the video emerged of him. We saw his remarks towards black people in the city of Atlanta, and he has his speed edge business. But see, here's what I found doing some investigation on Mr. Taylor. Yeah, Taylor has a criminal record. Oh, look at this little old alabaster thug. He's a thug, ladies and gentlemen. Can you a Neanderthal? Oh my God. Can you believe this? Not Mr. White, everything is right. He's a criminal, a Neanderthal. Let me read you some of what he got going on here, family. Yeah, see, let me better business. Let me go ahead one more time so I can make sure that y'all have it. Let's put his business back in the chat room because see, we don't need black people sending their kids around no thug with a criminal record. Oh yeah, we gonna do them just like they do us. So now let's read this. According to WMAZ 13 Macon, that's a news station in Georgia, Taylor served time in prison in the late aughts. In 2007, he pleaded guilty to a felony charge of influencing a witness. Oh, okay. At that time, he was working for the Houston County, Georgia School District as a teacher and a coach. They got this thug around these children at Northside Middle School. At one time, Taylor was banished from Houston County, Warner Robins, for stalking his ex-fiance who was a teacher. Oh, he's a stalker too. Oh, yeah, see? Yeah. He ain't got no business being around kids. A ban that was rescinded by the county per ABC 15 Macon. Oh, man. So you see, Mr. Taylor is a criminal. Oh, yeah. See, you know how they feel about criminals, don't we, family? So, yeah, I wonder if Marc Lamont Hill going to report on this. Don't worry. We got it over in the black media. Let's read further on Mr. Taylor's goings on. They're saying they're not going to comment on his connections in college football world. Well, we're going to comment on it because I'm going to do some more digging on him. Or the success of Speed Edge Sports. Oh, you ain't going to be successful for too much longer. We're going to make sure of that. We're going to take care of you. The sports training industry is full of hustlers who show pictures they took with coaches and players and claim to be friends with them. The most notable organization that has gone so far as to issue a statement publicly disassociating itself from Taylor is the Christian school. Oh, he was around claiming to be a Christian? That's just like the white supremacists. The Christian school in Macon, Georgia, which allowed him to train athletes on its grounds. Okay. So see, that's the part that a lot of people probably didn't know about Mr. Taylor, but you know now. Oh, yeah, you know now. You know now. And see, family, now that we got that out here, I want to take a moment to talk to our Black immigrant brothers and sisters. I got to take a moment to talk to them because, see, as you all know, I'm going to show you something here. We all know what happened to our young brother. Even though he's not foundational Black American, we don't want to see anything happen to a Black child, whether they are of our lineage or not. The young brother, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl. Now, the monstrosity and the demonic coward that you're looking at on the left hand of the screen is 84-year-old Andrew Lester. This is the piece of shit that shot this young brother. Let me talk to my immigrants here, whether you're continental African or Caribbean. When your foundational Black American brothers and sisters try to warn you about racism and white supremacy, this is what we're talking about. This young boy wasn't bothering nobody. He didn't have nothing on him. He wasn't armed. He thought he was looking for a friend that had the wrong house, and that almost was a death sentence for him. Now, I've heard the young man is recovering at home. Thank God for that. I hope he has a full recovery. You know, I'm sending out my sympathies to the family. But let me talk primarily to the non-FBA men, whether you're continental African or Caribbean. We need to see y'all riding for this. We need to see you calling it what it was, white supremacy, anti-Black racism. And we need to see you out here demanding justice for him, okay? See, this when you come over here, you're just going to keep your head down and you're not going to get involved with nothing. There ain't no racism and all of that. Here it is right here in front of your face. It's right here in front of your face. Not only is it in front of your face, I've told you many times over here on this channel, as a Black man, a member of the warrior class, the protector class, in any lineage that you're in, when anything threatens your future, which are your children, you're supposed to make some noise about that. I'm telling you, brothers, right now, whether you continental African or Caribbean, if you sit here and be silent about this and do that same bullshit, you're not worthy of the title manhood. This bastard attacked one of your own, one of the futures of your lineage. He may never be the same again with what he had done to him, the brazen way in which he did it. He shot him through the glass, claiming that he was afraid as soon as he saw a Black person. And then he went and shot him in the head, trying to kill the young brother. Mistaking a house for one that you thought it was is not a damn death sentence. He didn't do nothing to threaten nobody. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say it again. If you are a non-FBA man, even if you Caribbean, even though I hear his family is African, all of y'all supposed to say, okay, hey, look, it's time to get Black first on this. We waiting to see what you're going to do on this because, see, a lot of you come over here, Kata this, Jaria this, and all these other terms you have for us, tell us ain't no right racism and white supremacy, and then you see this happen. And there have been many more incidents before this, but it should be extra personal for you if you have any pride for your lineage, because this is a child that happened to. What you gonna do about that? I want to show you something else, right? Because there has been an update on it. Per CNN, they were saying that he has been charged with 2 felony charges against, for trying to kill the young brother. Okay, for trying to kill him. Here's the thing. I looked at them 2 charges. I didn't see attempted murder in there. If you are a continental African immigrant, a Caribbean immigrant, you should be coming together demanding that would be attempted murder. You need to have that charge raised up to where it belongs, okay? See, when things like this happen and you just want to turn and look the other way, I'm going to say it to you directly if nobody else will. What you're basically doing is showing that you're not worthy of being trusted by your women and your children. Because, see, the women and the children depend upon the men, whether they like it or not, whether they admit it or not, for their safety and their protection. When something like this happens to a black child that's foundational Black American, everybody see us front and center. We still not going to shut up about getting justice for Sensei Reed, okay? The young brother that was attacked by that cowardly white supremacist, shot in the back. Charged him, locked him up, then dropped the charges and let him go. Oh, no, we're not done with that by sight. So what I'm saying to you, when you see these types of things here, you see how we're taking it seriously with this situation with Mark Taylor. If you're wise, not if you've seen this, you better start taking a page out of our book. White supremacy is not something that you can play with. It is a threat, the greatest threat to Black people globally. And when it starts attacking your children and you sit by and do nothing, like I said, just remove the title man from you. I had to take this time to say that to you. I'm not punching down. I hope that young man recovers. Like I said, but we're going to need y'all to stand up, okay? You're not going to just sit there and wait on us to do it. This happened to one of your own. You need to be making some noise about that. I had to take the time to mention that. I'm going to keep my eyes on the situation. And I hope that justice is served because, see, we're going to deal with ours over here. This is the page right here, that Speed Edge Sports. Oh, yeah, we're going to deal with ours. We're going to make sure that we take these threats very seriously. And I'm going to pause this right here because I want you all to see the information. Since it's open to the public, everybody has a right to know where these anti-Black racists and white supremacists are. So as you see, let's look at this information up here to this little business. All right. It's a gym, physical fitness center. Okay, this is Speed Edge Sports. Right of business. Let me go ahead and put that link in the chat room one more time. I want to make sure everybody that's gathered over here tonight has what you need to have to take care of business, as you know we do on the grassroots. It's at 8460 Hawkinsville Road, Macon, Georgia. Okay, right here in the United States. The phone number, in case any of you good brothers and sisters would like to, go ahead and make a call about certain things. It's 478-302-7018. It is 478-302-7018. He even has an email, Coach Taylor, 2516@gmail.com. Coach Taylor at 2516@gmail.com. Yeah, see, we take our threats seriously over here. We don't sit here and play around with these damn white supremacists so they can come and attack our children with impunity. No, we come together as a community. A lot of times, unfortunately, some, not all, but some Black immigrants, whether they're Caribbean or especially continental African, well, they're not Nigerian, it's not my problem. They're not Ghanaian, it's not my problem. Nah, see, that's where you got that wrong at. I'm not trying to mock you. What I'm doing is I'm asking you to look at your behavior and see how that worked in your homeland. It didn't work, so why bring that behavior over here? You would be better served following our lead and sticking together no matter where another Black person is from. This is what we've been trying to tell y'all. You can do what you want, but we're going to handle our business with this, okay? We're going to handle our business with this. We're not going to sit here and let threats become to the point where they go after our children. We believe in neutralizing the threats over here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to make sure you all had that information because I didn't know if anybody else had put that info out there, but now you do have it. Screenshot it, play this back as many times as you need to. And like I said, when it comes to this Freaknik situation, we're going to keep our eyes on that. I will be doing another broadcast going into further detail about that later this week. So with that said, thank you to everybody that joined us over here in attendance. Protect yourselves at all times. Salute to you. Black first. I will see you all in future content.
Guys, this is Tariq Nasheed, and I'm inviting you to the Foundational Black American Expo going down May 27th, 2023, right here in the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. This is an event you don't want to miss. It's going down at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters, and this is an empowerment event that you can invite the whole family to. We're going to have seminars and workshops that discuss things like business development, education, health and wellness, self-defense, and some of you businesses out there, we have vending opportunities where you can promote your businesses. Plus, we're going to have so many phenomenal speakers and guests. We got people like Dr. Boyce Watkins, who's coming down, Professor James Small, Sister Vicky Dillard, Riza Islam, Dr. Kaba Kamene, Ben X, Jehudi Mayad Ra, Erica Lachey, Red Pill, Blue Pill, so many people. So yo, get your tickets now at FBAExpo.com. That's FBAExpo.com. We will see you here.